YouTube, what's up? Zacher Immortal here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today, we're jumping back into the world of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 to take a look at 7 missing features that honestly should have launched with Black Ops 4 back in October. While Black Ops 4 does seem like a pretty well-rounded game upon face value, when you really get into the nitty-gritty aspects of it, the game is actually missing a lot of basic features. Let's start off with probably the most obvious, that being a global leaderboard system. This has been a pretty controversial topic since the game launched, as leaderboards are a huge deal to a lot of members in the Call of Duty community. Now, if I remember correctly, back when Infinite Warfare actually launched, I believe that game did not launch with leaderboards, and that was, I think, one of the first instances that we saw a Call of Duty launch without a leaderboard system, and in response to that, the community just went berserk. Like, Infinite Warfare and Infinity Ward in general were receiving a ton of hate. And while I don't think that Treyarch is getting that same level of hate, the fact that something as simple as a leaderboard system isn't an option in 2018, I find a little silly. What I'm about to say stands true for pretty much every other topic in this video, and that's that I feel like Call of Duty is actually losing more and more basic features every single year, even though technically every year we should just be advancing the overall quality of each game with new discoveries in the way of technology. Like if a Call of Duty back in the day on Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 could have a working leaderboard system at launch, why is it that a Call of Duty game in 2018 on the newest generation of consoles can't have a working leaderboard system? To me, that's just sort of an interesting take on things. You know, if something worked back on old generation consoles in an older day where technology wasn't nearly as advanced, why is it that that same system doesn't work or isn't even implemented in a current day Call of Duty? There is a little rumor going around right now about why leaderboards aren't actually in Black Ops 4, and this rumor basically sums it up to leaderboards revealing a low player count. Some of you guys might have seen the image that's been floating around on social media recently, actually detailing the player counts for every single Call of Duty since 2013 on just PlayStation 4. The image has Ghost sitting at 13.2 million PS4 players, Advanced Warfare at 21.3 million, Black Ops 3 at 54.7 million, Infinite Warfare at 18.4 million, Modern Warfare Remastered at 10.6 million, World War II at 25.5 million, and then you've got Black Ops 4 being the lowest of them all at 9.8 million. Now, keep in mind, these numbers are not confirmed by Activision. Activision has said nothing in response to this. However, if these numbers are even relatively accurate, and Black Ops 4 is the least popular Call of Duty out of everything on that list, that does look kinda bad for Treyarch. At the same time though, this list does have that very specific niche of just being PlayStation 4 users. And to be honest, Black Ops 4 does probably have the best PC experience out of any Call of Duty in quite some time. So perhaps some players have actually transferred platforms, and maybe that is one reason behind a sudden dip in PS4 players. Either way though, the rumors stating that leaderboards are being withheld due to the fact that they'll reveal low player counts is just that, a rumor. Moving on, the second missing feature actually kind of lines up directly with global leaderboards, and that is a public combat record. Similar to leaderboards, this is not some massive feature, or is it something that's new and groundbreaking like we've seen it in older Call of Duties? You could see your friends' stats like their KD, their win-loss, their score per minute, etc, etc. You could even see random strangers' stats too, so yet again, we're sitting with a 2018 Call of Duty in our hands that does not feature a basic system like a public combat record. Now, while the leaderboard system and the lower player count rumor make the missing features seem a little bit more understandable, I see no reason that a public combat record system is not in the game. The ability to see your friend's stats and compare them to yours is something that every competitive Call of Duty player strives for in the bragging rights department. And even when it comes to public matches, being able to see the types of players that you're matched up with can be a very useful and beneficial piece of information. Just like with the leaderboard system, this feature does not seem like it's a huge obstacle for Treyarch to implement, which has me wondering why it hasn't been added to Black Ops 4 yet. Perhaps since global leaderboards and a public combat record sort of go hand in hand, that's why we have neither instead of one versus the other, but honestly I am left a little bit disappointed that neither of these two features are in the game at this stage. The third missing feature that I think honestly should have launched with Black Ops 4 is a Community Creations tab. When I say Community Creations tab, I mean something like community paint jobs and emblems. This feature, I believe, actually did not launch with World War II last year either, but it did eventually get updated into the game after a few months. With Black Ops 4, obviously we have the option to create custom paint jobs and custom emblems, so the fact that we don't have a communal space to upload, download, and just share our creations is kind of baffling to me, to be honest. And just like the leaderboard and combat record systems, I feel like a communal workshop area isn't something that would actually be too hard to produce. Granted, I'm not a game developer and I really can't speak knowledgeably on the subject. I don't see any of the three aforementioned features being a massive roadblock in the development cycle. In the same fashion as before, a community creations area has been featured in previous Call of Duty titles, and yet again, it seems like Black Ops 4 has backtracked in that area for no apparent reason. Keeping the list rolling here, our fourth missing feature that seriously should have launched with Black Ops 4 is actually something that legitimately makes me annoyed when playing because it is such a simple feature. That being the ability to select a class when you join a game late. Obviously, when you start a fresh match on Black Ops 4, you have like that 30-second grace period where you select your specialist and then you select your class. That's standard and it just works fine, right? However, if you join a game late, you are only given the option to select your specialist of choice, and then you're thrown right into battle without the option to select your class. Typically, it gives you like either the first class in your create a class system or just a random class that you were using in the game prior. Now, while you can easily just select your class and change to it upon respawning, I feel like you shouldn't have to receive a death just to play with the class that you want to play with. Like I said, the option to select a class when joining late into a game seems like such a basic feature that any shooter game out there should include. So why in the world are we over 2 months into the life of Black Ops 4 and without the option to choose a class upon joining a match in progress? Moving on though, the fifth missing feature is actually something that I'm still dying to see added to the game, and I feel like it's been a pretty big request from the community as well. What I'm talking about here is a bare bones playlist that is free of any and all specialist weapons, abilities, and equipment. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy getting some easy quad feeds with Prophet's Tempest or Seraph's Annihilator, but at the same time, it is super frustrating getting killed 1 or 2 kills off of my streaks because someone shocks me with a Seeker Mine and then whacks me with their gun. While specialists are fun, or at least some of them are, Black Ops 4 without specialists is a game that I seriously want to try out. Even if it ends up not being that great, I just want to experience how the game would play without cluster nades on every single hard point or razor wire blocking every flank route. I feel like the actual gunplay in Black Ops 4 would shine a lot more if it weren't for specialists constantly altering the flow of the match. And I apparently, alongside a lot of other community members, would seriously love to see a bare bones specialist-free playlist. Feature number 6 here is relatively small, but could easily remove a minor inconvenience for anyone grinding out prestiges or anyone who has a little OCD like me. And that's a quote-unquote mark all as seen option for specialist customization. When you prestige, or sometimes randomly through a glitch as well, you'll see that every single specialist character within the personalization tab is highlighted and showing you that you have a new item or items available. And in order to get rid of that new icon, you have to go in and manually hover over each new item that's there for each character individually. Obviously, this is not some huge game-breaking bug. It's just kind of a nuisance if you don't like seeing that little green bar all the time. So rather than individually viewing every new piece of equipment or war paint or specialist outfit, why not add an option to easily mark every new item as seen and thus clear your notifications of any new item green bars? Like I said, this is a pretty small feature, but I feel like it could also be pretty useful. Now, to wrap up the video, we've got my 7th and final missing feature, and it's probably a lost cause at this point, and honestly is more of a meme than anything, but I personally would still love to see a VSAT added to the score streaks list in Black Ops 4. This is a feature that I think a lot of people were expecting to be added to the game when it launched, but obviously it is still missing. For anyone who enjoys slaying out every game, the VSAT was a necessity in previous Call of Duty titles, and with only a UAV and counter UAV at our disposal this year, pub stomping and just going on those quick nuclear streaks in general feels a little bit more tedious than before. Obviously though, David Vonderhaar and Treyarch have literally said, we are not adding a VSAT, so unfortunately it seems like this feature is just going to be forever collecting dust on the shelves of disappointment, although it is still a feature that I wish would have launched with the game. And that pretty much does wrap up this video. Those are 7 features that I personally think should have been in Black Ops 4 when it launched back in October. Do you guys agree with this list, or did I miss anything? Be sure to drop me a comment down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by leaving a like on it, it'd be much appreciated. And if you guys are brand new here to the channel, feel free to go ahead and subscribe with your channel notifications turned on by clicking that little bell icon. That way you'll know every single time I upload a new video. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.